Hey guys, in this Spark AR Studio tutorial I want to show you how you can create your own what would you rather filter for your Instagram. So you have two options, and when you select one of those options by nodding your head, this option will stay and the other one will change. And yeah, you will cycle through all the options and at the end you will see your favorite option. I have created a patch asset for you, which makes it very simple for you to create a filter like this, and of course you can download this patch asset for free. I will also include the pictures and the graphics in the download folder so you can follow along this tutorial. But of course you can also use your own assets. So yeah, I hope you're motivated to create a filter like this. Just follow along this tutorial, and indeed in the end you will have your own what would you rather filter. So let's go. Hey again, so let's create this what would you rather filter here in the Spark AR Studio. Before we start creating the filter here, please make sure you have downloaded all the assets we need to create this filter. So go down to the description and click on the download link. Then you will end up here on this site, and here you can just download all the assets. You can find a patch inside this download folder and also the pictures we will use to create this filter. But of course you can use your own pictures for this. Now I will just show you how I have created the pictures so you can create your own. I have created the assets in Sketch, but of course you can use Photoshop, Illustrator, Canva or any other program you feel comfortable in creating some assets. I have created all the pictures on a squared format, so you can see the banner here has a resolution of 1000 times 1000 and the options have a resolution of 500 times 500. Just make sure they are in a squared format. Everything else is not that important, because the Spark AR Studio will automatically scale down all the assets to 1024 to 1024. So after you have created your assets, or you have decided to use mine to follow this tutorial, we can start creating the filter here in the Spark AR Studio. So yeah, let's go. The first step we will do is of course to import all the assets we have just downloaded. So we go to the assets panel, click on the plus, go to import, and here from computer. The first asset I will import is the wouldyourather.arp file. This is the batch we will use to build this filter as easy as possible. So yeah, it is really simple for you to create this filter. The next step we will import is the animation sequence for the options. Those are not single pictures here in the assets panel. This will be an animation sequence. So to import an animation sequence, we go again to the assets panel, click on the plus, go to animation sequence. Then Spark AR has created this animation sequence for us. I will rename it to options. Then we select the options animation sequence, go to the right hand side, and here at texture we can click on choose file. Then we go to our pictures folder, and then we will just import all the pictures we will show as an option in our filter. So I have those 8 pictures here. I will just select all of them and then click on open. So after this is done, we can see the textures here combined in the animation sequence from 1 to 8. The first step I always do when I import a texture is to click on the texture in the assets panel, go to the right hand side and set the compression to none. So now we have 2 assets left to import. So we do this again with clicking on the plus, go to import this time from computer, and then we select the banner and also the r.png. So when we have done this, again set the compression of the textures to none. So now the more exciting part starts. The first thing we will do is to build the scene here in our in the Spark AR Studio, and after this we will start the programming of the filter. At first I will just arrange the scene here statically on the screen, and then when everything is built, I will attach it to the face, because this is much easier, so we can see how the objects are positioned. So let's do this. The first thing we will do in our scene is to create a null object, because this null object will contain all the other assets and we can move them with one click. So I will create this null object and rename it to what would you rather. So I know everything for this filter is in there. So the next step is also that I create another null object, and now make sure that this null object is inside of the first null object. So just drag it into it, and I will call this options. This will contain the left and the right options. So now we need another null object. So just create it, also drag and drop it into what would you rather, and then into the options null object. So when we have done this, we can rename this to left. Now we can just duplicate the left null object with a right click on it and duplicate it. And I will rename the duplication to right, of course. So now we have created all the null objects, because they will come in very, very handy when we have created all the planes. So now we need a lot of planes here in the null objects. So let's start. I will create a new plane object, and now I will drag and drop this plane object into the left null object, and I will rename this plane object to left start. Now we can duplicate this plane 2 times. So, and another one. So this will be the current selection left plane, and the other will be the options left plane. So we will do this again. We can do this very simple. So we can just duplicate the left null object again, because then it will also duplicate all the planes inside of it. So we do this now. So duplicate, and now we can delete the right one we have just created before. So just delete this, we don't need this. So I will call this also right. So, and now I will just replace the text left with right of all the planes here, so I don't get confused later. So after we have done this, we need of course a banner plane also. So we need another plane in our scene, so we can close the null objects. So as you can see, you can tidy it up also with the null objects. So now we need a new plane object and call this banner. So this banner plane will go inside the what would you rather null object. So inside this, and not inside the option. So you can see it like this. So when we have done this, we are ready to go to create the materials for our planes, because at the moment there is just this placeholder texture at the planes. So we can create some materials. So just follow me along, create a new material. The first material we will do is the banner material, and then we need also 4 materials for our option selection for left and right. So yeah, just follow along. The next material is the left start. Then we need the right start. This will be just shown at the beginning. Then we need also a material for the current selection, and we also need a material for our options. So after we have done this, just select all the materials, then go to the right hand side and set the shader type to flat. And then that we don't get later some bugs, go down to the advanced render options and yeah, disable them for all the materials. So now we can give the materials their textures. So for the banner it is easy. We will just for the banner material we just set the banner texture. Then for left start we need a new animation sequence, also for right start and also for the current selection. But we don't need to import the textures anymore. We can just use those textures for different animation sequences. So we go to our animation sequence and just duplicate it. So just duplicate the options animation sequence. Now we also have this options 0 animation sequence, and we can rename it to left start. And as you can see on the right hand side, this animation sequence has already our texture applied. So with the duplication we can make sure that those are all the same. Just rename it. So duplicate it again, and the new will be the right start. Then duplicate again, and the last one here will be the current selection. So this is a lot to do, but as I have already said at the beginning, the setup is the most important part here, because the patch is very, very simple. So back to our materials. Now we can assign the right textures to our materials. So the left start material gets the left start animation sequence, the right start gets the right start animation sequence, the current selection, of course, the current selection, and the options material, the options animation sequence. So now we can go back to our scene and set the materials. So the first thing we will do is the banner. So just go to the banner plane, click on it, go to the right hand side and set for the material the banner material. So it is already here because it is the first here in our scene, but we want the banner above our options. So yeah, select the banner, and then for the Y position set it to, let's say, 0.11. It is very small, so let's make it bigger. So I will set the scale to 2.4 for X and also for Y. So now we can go back to our options here, to our options null objects, open it, and here we have left and right. And now we can assign all the materials to the left one first. So the left start gets, of course, the left start material. The current selection left gets the current selection material, and options left also gets the options material. Now the same for the right, open it. Then right start gets the right start material, current selection right gets the current selection, and the options right get the options. So now we can already see that the options are spinning through. To stop this, we will go to our assets panel, because that is very annoying. We go to our assets panel and select all our animation sequences. Then we go to the right hand side, and here under advanced we can find current frame, and besides current frame there is a little arrow. When you hover over it, it gets yellow, and then just click on it. Now we will find 4 new patches in our patch editor. Yeah, just sort them, and we will come back to them later because we need them also later here in the patch editor. So now the left and the right null object at the moment at the same place. So we have to split them up, so there is a left and a right side. To do this, we go to our scene and select the left null object. And here comes in that the null objects are very, very handy, so we can move all the 3 planes at once. So select it, go to the right hand side and set the position of X to minus 0.06, and then go to the null object for the right options, and then here set the position to 0.06, so not minus. So now they are here on the right side. Great. The banner is a little bit too far away from the options, I think, so I will change the banner Position, so I select it in my scene and set the position to, let's say, 0.1. So I think that's great. So now we can start programming in the filter here in the patch editor. So let's do this. So now the big patch comes into play I have created for you. So just go to your assets panel and drag and drop the would you rather patch here into the patch editor. And after you have done this, you will see this big orange patch here in the patch editor. I have created this patch asset for you that you can create this filter as easy as possible. So you see there are 4 inputs and a lot of output. So the first thing we will do is to create something for the face input. So we have to create a face tracker in the scene to do this. So go to your scene, click on the plus and search for a face tracker. After you have created the face tracker, click on it and then drag and drop it into the patch editor. Now Spark AR will automatically create those 3 patches for us. And now you can see here at the face tracker 0 patch, there is a face output. Just connect this face output to the face input of the would you rather patch. So now there are a lot of outputs here, but all the outputs are saying the thing that should be connected to them. So you can see here start visibility, options right visibility, options left visibility. So yeah, just we start with the first output and we will create all the things we need. So for the start output, we need the visibility of the right start plane and also the left start plane. So we go to our scene, open the left null object, select the left start plane, go to the right hand side, and here at visible there is also this little arrow next to it, and when we click on it we get a left start visible patch. So yeah, this is very important. We will do this step with the extraction of the visibility to the patch editor very often. So now we can just connect the start visibility to the left start. So now we do this again for the right plane. So open the right null object, click on the right start plane, go to the right hand side and extract the visibility property to the patch editor. And also just connect the start visibility output to the visible input. So now we can move on. The next thing is the options right and options left visibility. So again, go to your null object, to the options left plane, and here extract the visible property. So this is options left, so this can be connected to the options left visibility. And now do this again with the options right plane. So just make sure you have an overview here in your patch editor. So the next output is the current selection right visibility. So again, go to your null object, go to the current selection plane and extract the visible property to the patch editor for the left and also here for the right plane. And now just connect them. So here is current selection right, this goes to this, and here is current selection left, this goes to this one. So tidy it up. So move on to the next output. Here we can see the left start current frame, and we have already here extracted our current frames properties from our animation sequences. So we can just use them, and here you can see options, left start, right start and current selection. So the left start current frame goes to the left start, the right start current frame goes to the right start, then the current selection output goes to the current selection input, and the options output goes to the options input. So now we have 4 outputs left. But before we do this, you can see there is something weird going on. This is flicking through all the options. Yeah, to change this, just restart the filter first, then go to the what would you rather patch here, and here you can see the option amount input that is set to 0 at the moment, but we have 8 options here in our texture sequence, so we change this to 8 and now restart it again, and now this is gone. So when you have, for example, 10 options in your animation sequence, set the option amount to 10, when you have 12 to 12, and so on. So now we can move on here with the next outputs. Now we have the left and right visibility. This is the visibility of the null object. So we go again to our scene, go to the left null object and extract the visible property, and we also do this with the right null object. So those two get the same output. Nice. So next output is the last and also the left scale and the right scale. We don't have the plane for the last created yet, but we will do this soon. So let's do the left scale and the right scale first. This will just be that it pops up a little bit when you nod your head, because at the moment you see it is already working, but there is not much going on when it comes to animation. But of course we wanted to make it more interactive, so we also have this slide animation. So to do this, we will go again to our left and right null object, and this time we will extract the scale property. So select the null object, go to the right hand side and extract the scale property. So for the left one, and also do this for the right one. So now we have here the left scale, this goes to the left 3D scale input, and also the right scale goes to the right 3D scale input. But we want, of course, the last selected option here in the middle, so we know which one is our favorite option. So we have to create a new plane for this. So we go to our scene and create a new plane. This plane 0, I will rename it to last, and then I also drag and drop this into the what would you rather null object. So it is not inside the options, it's just here outside of it. Then we of course need a material for it, so we go to our assets panel, then click on the plus, create a new material. I will call this last, then again go to the right hand side, set the shader type to flat, and that it is working properly, go down to advanced render options, and here just deselect use dev test and write to dev. Then we set the texture for the last material, and this is the current selection. Then we go to our scene, click on the last plane, go to the right hand side, and here for the material we select the last material. Now we go up to the visible property again and extract it to our patch editor. And now we can just connect this last output to the last visible patch. So now the filter is already working just fine. So when I nod my head to the right option, this option stays and the left option will change. So again, this stays, this changes. When I nod it to the left, now this stays and this option changes. So now the next step is that I also want a little OR between those two options, so it looks a little bit better, I think, and also the user knows to decide between the two options. So I go again to my assets panel and create a new material. I will rename this to OR. We already have imported our OR texture. Go to the right hand side and set the shader type to flat. Now I go down to textures and select the OR material texture. And then don't forget to disable the advanced render options. So now we also need a plane for this. So create a new plane in your scene. Select as material the OR material, and then make sure that it is also here in the what would you rather null object. And I will rename this, of course, to OR. It is a little bit big at the moment, so let's scale it down to, let's say, 0.3. And yeah, this looks pretty nice to me. And yeah, now you can play around here with the position of all the elements, and here the null objects are very handy. So when you want to set down the options, you can just go here and change here the position of the options, and with the null objects you can move both at the same time. But of course we want that this is moving with the head, so we can do this very easy, and also the null object comes in here very handy. We just have to drag and drop the what would you rather null object into the face tracker, and now when you restart the filter, it is moving with our head, but it is in front of our face. We want it a little bit more up, so just select the what would you rather null object, go to the right hand side and set the position to, let's say, 0.12 for the y-axis. And now it is above our face, and now we can just play around with this filter, change the options, change the assets, or leave it like it is. But there is one thing wrong. The OR stays till the end. We don't want this, so we open again up our what would you rather null object, go to the OR plane, select it, go to the right hand side, and again extract the visible property of it. So now we have it here. To make it invisible at the last slide, we can use our last output. We just need another patch for it, so we can invert our signal. So we add a new patch, and this is a not patch. So just connect the last output to the not signal input, and the output goes to the OR, to the yellow OR patch. So now restart the filter again, and now it should just work fine. Yes, so this is how the filter should work in the end. I hope this tutorial was helpful for you. If yes, give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to this channel, it would be nice when you subscribe to it so you don't miss any new video here. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye!